What's going on, guys? Handsome Home Buyer here. And for the first podcast of 2021, we went big, huge. I brought together 5 of the top real estate professionals on Long Island in a rapid fire speed dating format, 10 minutes a pop, and you are going to love it. Anything from finance to architecture to one of the top 200 home builders in the country. You want it, you need it, you asked for it. Handsome delivers. Check it out. Yeah, kid. Welcome back to another episode of the Handsome Home Buyer Podcast. My name is Charles, aka the Handsome Home Buyer, aka Captain Perman, aka El Julio Maravilloso. Okay, we're gonna jump right into this. Everybody knows who I am, what I do. I want to buy it. We do permits. You name it, I got it. So we have a rapid fire speed dating-esque podcast set up. I'm calling it the Titans of Long Island real estate. We have 5 absolute superstars, and I mean superstars in their respective industries, from construction to home building to workouts to finance to affordable housing to architecture, you name it. We're going to jump right into it with my man, I feel like he's like my uncle. That's my uncle, my second father, my former professor, and now my friend, my compadre, mi padre, JamesRoberts Background. Yo!
So would you go speed dating with an uncle?
Yeah, no, probably not with an uncle because of that whole like third head, extra leg thing. You can't do the whole family thing. But okay. I think I'm adopted. I think you adopted me.
Well, I am honored to be here. You are the man. And you asked me if I would just introduce myself. I was honored to be a professor at NYU. I'm also a real estate finance person and somebody who's passionate about green, and I'd rather sort of get into things. But one last thing, just because I'm more your uncle than your compatriot, I have seen 3 real estate downturns in my life. So my purview and my view of life is having a few white hairs and having seen some downturns and thinking that's great. It's just like a snow globe that's been shaken up.
I would rather have white hair than what I have right now, which is no hair. So you won't get any sympathy from me on the hair in the hair department. But yeah, so there's a couple of things I want to jump into in the 8 minutes that we have remaining. I want you to give people like a quick kind of 30-second rundown of your workout experience and what you've done in banking, because it's fascinating, and it also kind of lends to like what you and I were talking about yesterday, a tremendous amount of opportunity that's going to be coming down the pipe, you and I think, this year.
So I've been through 3 downturns, including the Great Recession, the savings and loan crisis, and the Asian contagion. And anybody in real estate who has been around sees that sometimes there's uncertainty, but I think the beauty of it is that people who are talented and are experienced and knowledgeable rise. And so just to put in a plug for NYU, your background will serve you well with that skill set. I've worked for buyers and sellers of real estate, of loans. I've most recently was managing the distressed debt book for a major bank and PR. So I've done workouts in bankruptcy and I've seen a lot of distress. And that gives me reason for optimism, because I think it creates a repricing opportunity and it sort of eliminates the people who are just in this for enjoyment and gets back to sort of a more realistic pricing. But I do think there will, as we were talking yesterday, I do think there'll be opportunities for perhaps not because that we're overbuilt as a nation or as a northeastern or tri-state market, but opportunities because owners or investors overpaid and they're running out of cash. And so there'll be opportunities to buy those where the prior sponsor owner's equity is toast, and you can get in something closer or below cost.
So a lot of people, especially, I mean, my generation being 41, I experienced the Great Recession. So I remember what it's like. But people that are younger, like if you're 32 or younger, you don't remember what a recession is like. Of the last 3 recessions you've been through, is it obviously what triggers them is different, but is the result really the same? And then how can investors position themselves to really take advantage? Because people make money in downturns. It's plain and simple. You buy low, you ride the wave, you wait for the next drop.
Cash is king. I think it may be closer to the Great Recession, where there was a lot of money that was raised by funds with assets under management and asset management fees that were burning through the funds were available, and there wasn't enough product. In the savings and loan crisis, there was, tons of opportunity. In the last downturn, there was sort of more limited bank closures and more limited distress. And so therefore, a lot of that dry powder was unspent.
As compared to, my concern actually now is that, are you concerned at all about inflation? Are you concerned at all about, the next downturn? Are you concerned about, politics playing a role into this? Is it just need to shake out, or do you feel like we're already on the way out of this?
So I think this is driven by the problems with COVID and the fact that the economy basically shut down for a number of months. I think it's accelerated trends that have been underway for a decade, and it basically just put it on fast forward. After working from home, will people be going into offices? Will people be permanently shopping online versus going to a mall? Those kind of things. But you don't see, this is not sort of an overhang of a lot of real estate product that was built and then is just waiting for buyers. I think the question is how those assets are what's the highest and best use of some of those assets, and maybe they're not their original purpose. May be an old story, and savvy real estate investors have to look to see where the next opportunity is.
Yeah, no, that makes. So when we come at this, do you think it's going to be like another roaring 20s type of scenario? I mean, I'm with you in the sense that people think that COVID really shocked the world, and it did. But when I look at everything that's going on, when you look at retail, even restaurants, the digitization of our society has been going on for the last, 10 plus years, 10 years about, and COVID just kind of dumped gasoline on that. So, real estate is like a slow turning ship, I always say. But now I think everyone just realized that it's a different world.
I mean, I think there's a bunch of sectors that people should be looking at. I think affordable housing is going to be a major sort of political real estate issue, and something that I know you have a big focus on, and help your local communities by providing that service. I think it's going to be a major political issue as to how affordable is housing, what are protections for homeowners as well as renters, and is there enough affordable housing? I think another issue is I'm very passionate about the greening of the built environment. And under the Biden administration, I think there's going to be tons of incentives to help the built environment, which is a major, at least in the New York area, a major user of global greenhouse gases, to make the transition. So I think people should be looking for those opportunities to sort of upgrade and get performance boosts using some grants or subsidies or cheap money.
What do you think about like last?
You go out and talk about green.
Well, I was going to touch on green. I know that we're not getting out of a conversation with talking about green, and rightfully so. We should. I really want to do green. I really want to build green. I really love the cool stuff that we talk about geothermal and solar and building developments that you can take off the grid. And I really hope that the current administration or the new administration enables developers like ourselves in the suburbs who have a lower density builds to make it affordable, because that would be great.
I think there is an overlap with sort of the results of COVID. Because sustainability managers, especially for office product, are in the forefront of helping to encourage tenants to come back and say, this is a healthy building, the HVAC system works, no volatile organic compounds. Come back, this is a safe environment, touchless elevators, touchless lobbies, all that kind of stuff. So I think there is some overlap.
So I know you're a Connecticut guy, but you spend enough time in New York City and you've worked in New York City for years. I would just love to get your kind of opinion on what's going on in New York City now. Do you see opportunity there? Do you think investors should wait? Because people have been saying to me the last 6 months, oh, it's go time in New York City. For me, I don't feel like it's gotten, I hate to say it, bad enough. I think you're going to have to wait like another year or so, and then I think more opportunities. But I don't know if New York will ever be what it was before. I'm curious to get your feedback on that.
So I've seen a lot of press. About 6 months ago, Jerry Seinfeld had an editorial in the New York Times basically saying, is there any other place in the world that you'd rather be? I lived in Brooklyn for over a decade. I love New York, a long time New Yorker, even though I grew up humbly in Boston. But I think that gateway cities are always going to be in demand, especially for smart capital and for young people who want to be where the action is. It may look different, but I think New York's beauty and sort of ability to reinvent itself will make it on the forefront. There was some other recent article just about some of the instability post-COVID. But I think what's happening today in Washington is really important because, people want safe capital and the rule of law. And so I think that it's going to be important to reinforce the fact that the rule of law is strong and that people can invest in the United States, and that will keep international money flows coming back.
James, I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to shoot up to our next guest. If there's anybody out there, and I mean anybody, who needs any kind of financing, commercial financing in any capacity, this gentleman has pulled unbelievable miracles for me. In the middle of COVID, I lost all my financing on a huge deal. Literally in 30 days, we got it taken care of. Reach out to me. I'm happy to give you his information. He's one of the best out there. James, I love you. I'll see you soon. Thank you.
I'm honored. Keep up the great work.